Hey there everybody, it's Mike DiLisio, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Isle of Cats big box storage solution, plus the new expansions that came incorporated with this particular product. So what we're going to do is we'll head over to the table. I'm going to show you kind of a before and after, how it kind of comes to you and before it's assembled, pre-assembled, and then I'll show it to you what it looks like after it's been assembled and incorporated with the base game components. Then we'll come back here and I'll let you know what I think about it. Okay, so let's talk the Isle of Cats big box. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you kind of how it comes to you before everything is put together and then incorporated in with the base game components. And then I'll show you what it looks like after it's all put together, so you can get an idea of a little bit of a before and after. So after you take the shrink wrap off, here you can kind of see some of the things that you're going to get. You're going to get a Kickstarter pack, which is going to give you some promotional tiles and some larger beasts from the Beasts expansion. And so it's going to come with some smaller non-screen printed wooden beast pieces. And this is going to have some nicer screen printed, as I said, pieces and some promotional cats and things along those lines. Here you're going to have the Beasts, the Kittens and Beasts rule book and the setup instructions, things along those lines. All right. So a full rule book for that and the box that goes with it that I will struggle to open here on camera. It's always the risk. It's always the risk. Here we go. And here you see, this has actually been opened a little bit. The cards wouldn't come just loose like this, but you can get an idea. You've got some of the nice bags that you're going to be placing the event tiles or the kittens into, or the beasts. And here you can see those non-screen printed smaller wooden meeples of the beasts. Here you've got the royal rats and you've got cardboard tokens. Again, I'm going to spend a little bit of time showing these once it's all been put and incorporated into the box after it's put together. Here's our boat pack, which is going to be the extra boats. Again, I will show you more of these as we get to the after version of this. We've got some of the cards that go with the boat pack. Also, there is one card that has been errated, and it is a replacement. They tell you to replace the old card with this one. A number of baggies. And this is the before it has been put together, the wooden insert for the box, all right, along with instructions on how to put this together. Okay, so this is what it looks like generally speaking. Again, some of the shrink wrap has been removed and there's been a little bit of messing with it, but for the most part, this is how it's going to come to you. And then now I'll cut away and I'll show you what it looks like after it's all been put together and it's been incorporated with components from the base game. And in my example, it's going to have the other expansion materials in there as well. All right, so here we go. All right, through the magic of time lapse. Actually, it's not magic. It's not time lapse at all. I just happen to have an extra copy here in the studio that I showed you before for the before. This after copy is my actual personal copy, and I've got everything put together and incorporated. So let's take a look and see what it looks like after the thing has been all put together and incorporated. So I've got the rule books here. This is the base game rule book. I've got the Kittens and Beasts rule book here, and all of the kind of Kickstarter packs, extra stuff, the family rules, things along those lines. That's just how I chose to kind of put this together. I also chose to keep this diagram here just in case I need a reminder once the wooden insert has been pulled out of the box. If I want kind of a reminder on how it nicely goes back in there, I can do it that way. All right, that's just, again, how I chose to do it. All right, well, here we've got the large bag full of all of the cat tiles and the common treasures All right, you can just kind of see those. So I've got those right on top. Below that, I've got my Beast tiles, if I'm going to incorporate the Beasts expansion. I've also got my event tiles. All right, so if I'm playing with the events, the Kittens and Beasts and events are modular expansions. You can choose to play with some, none, or all of them. And here are my adorable little kitten tiles, which are kept in their own nice drawstring bag. These are thick, stitched, as you can see, canvas. I don't know if they're canvas. I'm not great with materials. They look like canvas to me, bags. Here's rules sheets, a number of, not rule sheets, I should say score sheets that incorporate all of the different expansions if you're playing with the Beasts and events and the Royal Rats and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's there. All right. First thing I'm going to do is show off the kind of card divider. All right. Now, this will incorporate sleeved cards from what I understand. You can see that my cards are not sleeved. But from what I understand, they do work with sleeved cards. You can see there's plenty of extra room in there. You can also kind of see the laser etching on those, which are cool. So these are the different lesson modules here. All right. And right now you'll see that 3 of them are empty. And that's because I have got some of them already in with the kind of the big deck of cards here. I'll show you in a moment from the last game I had played. This is for the Late Arrivals expansion. If you're playing with 5 or 6 players, these are the solo cards. These are the family mode cards. All right, so you can see this is all put together. I will tell you, of all of the wooden insert components, this was the trickiest one to put together. Getting all of these lined up and kind of put together was the trickiest one by far. But I got it done. All right. This is the big deck of cards here that is going to be basically the deck that you would play the game with. This actually still, again, has those modules in there. If I wanted to put in different modules, I would just have to go through and take those out, and I could put in different modules. If you're playing the game without sleeved cards, like I have here, you only need this one box. And in this case, I'm using this extra box for the things that I'm not using, like the small beasts. I've got them, changed out for the nicer beasts and the cardboard fish tokens instead of the upgraded wooden fish tokens that I have. If you were using sleeved cards, you would need both of these boxes for that. But again, since I'm not, I don't. All right, here on the top, we've got our little place for our round marker, Vesh's ship. We've got our little fancy kitty here and our pencil. All right. We here have a box that has a lid on it, which will pop off. And here are those beasts that I showed you before, the nice wooden screen printed beast meeples. And I'm flinging them about with abandon. All right, you can see that, it's very nice. And so those are there if you choose to play with the beasts module. And now, because I am on camera, I'm struggling to put the top back on. Usually it's not that tough. All right, there's that. Here we've got our larger screen printed kitties. So we can take a quick look at those. I'm not going to necessarily show all of these just because this was something that's been around. This isn't new to this, but this is the tray that holds them. All right, you can see those. Then here, I've got the cardboard tokens. I've got some of the permanent boots and baskets here. Got the royal rats there. All right, just another wooden insert part. And then I also have, here are my fish in the 2 denominations. These are my permanent baskets here as well. And you can see a nice little cat detail there. And then finally, we've got, as far as wooden insert part, we've got our Oshak kitties here. We've got our common treasures there. All right. And we have our round tracker here, along with our Kittens board, if we're playing with the Kittens. And then we've got our ship cards and all of our different boats. The standard boats, as well as the boats that come from the boat pack. They all fit together right here in the bottom very nicely. All right, a couple little things before we head back over and I tell you what I think about it. As far as this wooden insert goes, I've put together a number of these types of inserts before, so I did have some experience with it. I want to say that off the bat. It took me about 45 minutes or so to put it together. I did not use wood glue. I think that it might not be a bad idea if you wanted to, but I have not had any issue with this staying together. It fit together quite nicely, snugly, tightly. I didn't have to use a mallet or anything like that. I literally used my hands. That was the only tool that I used to put this together. And again, it took me about 40 to 45 minutes to put it all together. Your mileage may vary based upon your comfort level in building these types of inserts, and maybe just the individual build of the one you get. All right, well, that gives you an idea of what this looks like all incorporated and put together. Let's head over and I'll let you know what I think about this as a complete product. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea of what this looks like once you get it, and then what it looks like once it's been put together and incorporated with the components from the base game and any other expansions that may or may not be involved with that as well. So the first thing I want to state is that this is going to be a little bit less of a traditional review for a couple of reasons. Number one, because I'm looking at this as kind of a whole product. This was a Kickstarter campaign. I know that, or at least I suspect that most of the things that you saw are going to also be available retail. I do know that maybe some of the Kickstarter extras and upgrades may not be, and so keep that in mind. But I did want to just kind of talk about this as an incorporated product, meaning the new expansions, the Kittens and Beasts expansion and the boat pack, along with that wooden insert, and all of it as a storage solution. So when I give this a kind of a final score, it's going to be with this as a total product and incorporating elements from the base game. I have already stated on a number of occasions, if you've seen any of my videos, that the Isle of Cats is one of my favorite games. So you do probably want to know that going into this particular review. So let me first talk about the expansions. And I really, really like these expansions, the Kittens and Beasts modules. And the word module is one of the things that I like so much about it. It is a modular expansion. I tend to really like modular expansions because sometimes when you get an expansion for a game, there might be some elements of it that you like, some elements that you don't love so much. And what's good when it's modular is you can choose. If you like just the Kittens, put the Kittens in there. If you just like the Beasts, just put the Beasts in there. If you like them both, you can put them in there for both. And you can also tailor it to the play group that you have. And so what I'm getting at there is that the other positive, I think, about these expansions is that they vary in difficulty, and it is laid out there for you pretty clearly. The kind of simplest to incorporate would be the Kittens module. And so if you are playing with this game and you're incorporating these expansions for the first time, maybe just start with the Kittens module. And then from there, you can go with the Beast module. That's the next kind of level up. And then the events. The event tiles would be the most tricky, kind of the one that changes the core elements of the game the most. And so you might want to wait until you've played a few more games before you incorporate those. You could put all three of them in there, but if you do that, you're going to have a much more thinky version of the Isle of Cats than you would with certainly just the base game. And so I like that they lay that out very clearly, and they allow you to tailor it to your particular gaming group's preferences, and it makes it for a more seamless experience. So the expansions are really, really good. I particularly think that the Kittens are, I think you could incorporate new players, or you can introduce them to the first time they played the game. I think the Kittens are a nice little tweak, but it's a small enough change to the core rules that you could play with the Kittens module the first time, I think, especially with people who are relatively familiar with modern hobby board games. All right, so a couple of other things I want to touch on. I wanted to talk about the kind of the component changes. So Again, this may be more specific to if you get this as a Kickstarter package. The upgraded bits are terrific, and there have been upgraded bits in previous Kickstarter campaigns, and things along the lines of the wooden fish as opposed to the cardboard fish. I really do like them. I think that they're very nice. They're not necessary because I will tell you that the component quality of the cardboard components are very good. Nice, thick, quality cardboard. I never had a complaint, and still don't, with the cardboard components, because many of the components in the game, even with the upgraded bits, are still going to be cardboard. Your boat boards are thick cardboard. The tiles, the cats and the kittens, are all very good, thick quality. I've never had an issue with any of the cardboard degrading or having any issues kind of bumping around in the bag. Very good quality. But those upgraded components, I got to admit, they are very nice. I love those screen printed beast meeples. They're great. I like the oversized screen printed cats too. But your mileage may vary on that. I have mentioned before that I'm a bit of a shallow gamer. I love the aesthetics and the tactile feel. And this game really comes with the luxurious, big, chunky wooden bits if you like that sort of thing, which I do. All right, now let me talk about this as a storage solution, because to me that's going to be a huge part of this as an entire product, which again, I'm reviewing this kind of as this whole product now, the after, so to speak, portion, where you've got all of the bits incorporated. In my case, you've got the base game, you've got the late arrivals expansion in there as well, you've got some upgraded bits from the earlier campaigns. So how is this all together? How satisfied am I with my version of the Isle of Cats now with this big box? So there are a couple of negatives and a whole lot of positives. I'll just put this out there right now. I'll just start with the negatives, and then I'll talk about the positives. The first thing is, and I mentioned this briefly when I was showing you the kind of the after things were put together, is that while I felt like the wooden insert went together quite well and not too many issues there, that card tray insert was a bit tricky to assemble. Now, I appreciate that is probably the best looking wooden component of the insert, because it's got those, laser engraved cat dividers, which there's no doubt they look awesome. And it's a very functional card tray insert as well, but it was a bit of a bear to put together. Speaking of beasts, it was a beast to put together, but I got there. It just takes a bit of patience. You'll get there, but just expect that if you're getting this product and you're putting it together, that is probably going to take as much time as the other ones all put together. Getting that all lined up, all put together, and feeling snug and secure. So be aware of that. The only other thing that I would mention as a negative is that I would have loved to have a consolidated rule book as part of this product. Now that you've got the base game and the late arrivals and those Kickstarter extras and the beasts and kittens module and the event tiles, all of the individual rule books are stellar. I've mentioned this in the past with the Isle of Cats as a game, that I feel like the rule books are fantastic. And the new rule books that come with this are also fantastic. No complaints there. What would have been a real joy would have been to have all of them incorporated into a single organized rule book. I know maybe I'm asking for a bit much there, but hey, I would have loved to have seen it. All right, now, for the positives, and again, there are many of these. This, like the original version of the Isle of Cats, has one of the most thick and sturdy game boxes I have ever come across. And that might seem like a very strange thing to mention and to take time to talk about, but in the case of a game like this, especially one with a big box storage solution, I don't think that that's a minor thing. This box has a lot of heft. Now, actual weight, it adds to it, but to me that's a fair trade-off, because I feel like all of the components that are within this box, and there are a lot of them, are very safe and secure in this super thick box. I don't feel like it's going to degrade and wear down and tear over time, because it's, again, one of the thickest game boxes I have ever experienced. I did notice a couple of people were complaining that their lid got damaged in shipping. Mine didn't. And the designer also said that the way it's designed is that if your big box cover got damaged, that you could actually take the cover from the original game. It'll slot right on there because it's one of those kind of dual layered boxes. So very, very impressed with the thick, sturdy box. I did appreciate the organized diagram of how it's organized and how everything goes in the box. That really made me feel confident that I was putting things where they needed to go. And there is just this very strong sense of satisfaction I feel when everything is slotted nicely and snugly into its place. It just looks good, and it just gives me a sense of satisfaction. The wooden insert overall I feel like is very, very well done. As I told you, I didn't have a tremendous amount of difficulty other than that card insert tray putting it together. I didn't feel the need to use wood glue. Your mileage may vary. It's certainly not going to hurt to put a little dabs of wood glue on those kind of connection points, but I found like it was a strong, sturdy build. Again, there could be variations. One insert might be better than others. I can only tell you my experience, and my experience with it was quite positive. And the biggest kind of plus to this as a storage solution is that now the setup and teardown for this game is a breeze. It really is. For a game with as many components as the Isle of Cats has, it still takes minutes to set this up and tear it down. And man, that is great, because oftentimes that can be the difference on whether I get a game off the shelf or not. It's a game that I absolutely adore. I've again been very clear about my appreciation for the Isle of Cats as a game design. But if it takes me 15, 20 minutes to get it to the table, I may not play it as much as I would otherwise. Now, with this storage solution, I can very easily play just the base game of Isle of Cats. I can incorporate any or all of the expansions, and it's still going to be a breeze to set up and tear down. So there you have it. Overall, I feel like the Isle of Cats big box with the expansions is an outstanding product. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10, a seal of excellence. The slight issues that I had were just that. They were a bit nitpicky, but the positives were and are just so strong. I feel like there's a tremendous amount of care and attention to detail that was put into this as a product, and it shines and it shows through. And so this is a game that is always a pleasure to introduce to new players, and it's a game that I keep coming back to over and over again. That is the Isle of Cats big box storage solution, along with the new expansions. That'll do it for me. I'm Mike DiLisio, signing off from Dice Tower headquarters.